49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan has Sean McVay's number. Look at this. San Francisco won 6 straight against the Rams dating back to 2019. They're also 2-0 against them this season, including overcoming a 17-point deficit back in Week 18, sending the 49ers to the playoffs. Now, if the Rams won that game, San Francisco would have been eliminated from postseason contention. Think about that.
You know what we have in common with McVay and Shanahan, right?
Washington.
We all worked in Washington, D.C.
Bring on the Ben's Chili Bowl, baby. We are now joined by the Wizard of Odds, Kenny White, and our Vegas insider, Todd Fuhrman, to preview this NFC title game. Guys, the Rams have some demons to exercise when it comes to playing the 49ers. This time around, key contributors, they're banged up for San Fran, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, but still, despite their losing record, LA's a 3.5-point favorite. Kenny, how much faith do you have that the 49ers keep this winning streak going?
I think they could keep it going, but I also like the Rams as well. But the number's just right. I think the Rams should be about a 3.5-point favorite. I don't know the fan situation yet. I don't know how many 49er fans are going to get into the stadium. I know week 17 or 18 with the last game they played, it was more 49er fans than it was Ram fans, and it was a must-win situation for the 49ers, or they were out of the playoffs. The Rams needed it for first place, but the 49ers were desperate. And to start this winning streak, it was a desperate game from the 49ers that beat the Rams as well. So they were must-win situations. This game, both teams need it just as much. So I think the number's right. I'm going under the total. There have been 23 games or 23 times a team has played, beaten one team twice during the regular season and then played in the playoffs. But only 5 times has it so happened that the visitor was the team that won those 2 games. The home team did win 3 out of the 5, 3 and 2 ATS as well, but that's small sample size. But out of those 23 games, the final median score of those games was the home team 22, the away team 14, just 36 points. Playing 3 times shows me you're very familiar with what the opponent's going to do. There's no surprises. There's no tricks. You know exactly what you're going to get. Both these defenses are top 5 defenses, and they're playing like it right now. I think it's going to be a very low-scoring football game.
Well, Todd, you love the 49ers in this game. The line has stayed at 3.5 all week. What is that telling you?
It tells me that books have hung a perfect price tag on this particular game. We did see some books on Sunday evening open this game with the 49ers, a 3-point dog. You were able to get him at even money. You saw enough support for the Rams push it out to 3.5. But I think Kenny raises an excellent point that has to be factored into the handicap here. When you look at Week 18, the takeaway for the Rams was that it felt like a road game for them. They had to go to silent count at key junctures of that particular football game. And while I'm not sure we quite get that same sea of red again on Sunday, I really believe it's going to feel like a neutral field at worst for this 49ers fan base who travels exceptionally well and has strong pockets in that Southern California area. This is a 49ers team going into the game brimming with confidence. And I think when you look at the fact that they've beaten this Rams team led by Sean McVay 6 times, there's obviously some noise in the numbers when you talk about Jared Goff being the starting quarterback for 4 out of those 6. But at the same time, the one thing you can't overlook, the 49ers haven't had the superior team in the eyes of odds makers except for once. They've been underdogs in 5 out of those 6, and it hasn't swayed them in the least. Regardless of what personnel Kyle Shanahan has available at his disposal, if Deebo is a little banged up, we know he'll be out there. They won Week 18 without Trent Williams. I think it's all about scheme, and I trust Kyle Shanahan's bunch to execute more than Coach McVay's.
You know what's wild is that if Jimmy G leads the 49ers to the Super Bowl, he still might get traded in the offseason. Like, that still won't be good enough. All right, whatever you want to do. Let's target the prop market. Start with the quarterback of the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo has thrown at least 1 interception in the last 4 games, including the Week 18 game against the Rams when he tossed 2 picks. Jimmy G over a half interceptions, minus 140, Todd. Is the juice worth the squeeze on that prop? Is there another Jimmy G prop you like better?
You know, I don't really want a part of the interception prop because I think his attempts are going to be limited if this San Francisco offense has their wish. Instead, I'm going to target another under for Jimmy G, and this will be his passing yards. It's a prop that I've bet under each of the first 2 playoff games, despite betting the 49ers in each of those contests as underdogs. And I think it's because of what San Francisco does from an offensive standpoint. You look at score-neutral situations, the Niners love to run the ball on early downs. They did it on more than 57% of their offensive snaps so far this season. And that number only gets more pronounced in the 2 games against the Rams. So what does that mean for Jimmy G? If things are going well, he's not throwing it a ton. And I have to give our CBS Sports HQ research staff a ton of credit for digging up this nugget. When you look at Jimmy G, when he throws 0 touchdown passes in his career, 9-2 straight up. In the playoffs, he's 3-0 with 0 touchdown passes. And in his 4 career postseason wins, Jimmy's attempted 71 passes. So there's a direct correlation between 49ers success and Jimmy's numbers coming in under the total.
Yeah, Todd, we're in complete agreement here. This is my best prop of the game, under 230. I think it was 232 passing yards for Garoppolo. Again, the thumb injury, still not 100%. The shoulder, he's got a rib problem. He is banged up, and that's the reason for 44 passes combined the last 2 weeks and a total of 303 yards. And I don't see him changing anything here today in this game. It's going to be the run game, as Todd mentioned. They're going to be run heavy, first and second down, and a short passing game with Jimmy G. But also it's less plays. They're taking their time. They're very methodical. Their defense is going to shut the Rams down to a certain extent as well. So again, very low-scoring game, close battle. It's going to be up to Jimmy G and how healthy he is if the 49ers are going to win this game, but he's going under this passing total.
Well, this season against the 49ers, Matt Stafford averaging 240 yards. The first meeting he threw 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Then week 18, 3 TDs, 2 INTs. Todd, what's a Matt Stafford player prop that's jumping out to you?
It's the perfect segue because I think Matthew Stafford throws an interception, at least one of them on Sunday. So I'm going to lay the price that he does so. When you look at Matthew Stafford's numbers this season, he has been outstanding when dealing with extra rushers. One of the best quarterbacks in the NFL from a passer rating standpoint, a touchdown to interception ratio against the blitz. The problem being is the 49ers don't blitz at all. They look to try and generate pressure with their front 4, and it's something they've done exceptionally well over the last couple weeks with Eric Armstead coming on strong and Nick Bosa. They're going to drop in his zone. They're going to force Matthew Stafford to read his coverage, and they're going to mix things up on the back end. With a healthy Emmanuel Mosley, it gives them another body. Ambry Thomas, who missed last game against Green Bay, will be back in the fold. And I really believe DeMeco Ryans hasn't been given enough credit for what we've seen from the 49ers defensive game plans through the first 2 games. Matthew Stafford completes the trilogy. He'll throw at least 1 interception on Sunday against this Niners defense.
Yeah, I was on that same prop the last 2 weeks, and he burned me both games, Todd. But I would think he may throw an interception in this game, and I'm gonna go under in passing yards. Sean McVay has gotten so much more conservative after the final 4 games of the year, where Stafford did throw 8 interceptions, and now Cam Akers is back. They ran him 24 times last game for 48 yards. They weren't having success, and Sean McVay was still happy to run it instead of having Matthew Stafford throw the football. So I think the passing attempts will be way down. His season median, or at home this year, is 38. The last 6 games, it's down to 33.5, and he did only throw 55 passes the last 2 games. That's an average of 27.5. So I'm going under the yardage. Sherry mentioned it, an average of 240 passing yards in the first 2 contests. I think it's somewhere closer to that than it is 283.
All right, now let's get your favorite correlated parlay for the NFC title game. Kenny, I know you love a good parlay here. What do you have for us?
Yeah, it's funny. They're going to let us take Rams, the game under 45.5. The game under 44.5 is in that same game parlay. Might as well put those together. If it's going to go under 44.5, it's going to go under 45.5. Garoppolo under 1.5 touchdown passes. Garoppolo under 228.5 passing yards. That gives you a nice plus 295 for very correlated parlay.
And I got 4 legs of my own that I'm going to throw out there in this particular game. We'll start with the building block of the 49ers money line. I'm not abandoning the date I brought to the dance. I hope they're able to punch their ticket to get back to the Super Bowl for the 2nd time in 3 years. I'm going to go Jimmy Garoppolo under 20.5 completions. I know I talked about his yards. Obviously a correlation between the 2, and I feel like you can win them both, obviously, but don't want to tie up the yardage in this particular parlay. Kenny talked about Cam Akers, and while the Rams did feed him the rock plenty, he was extremely ineffective. And I know the Rams were trying to bleed the clock late in that game, but this 49ers run defense has been outstanding. It's been a key to their success with the first 2 playoff wins against the Cowboys and Packers. And when I look at the 49ers offensively, Deebo Samuel gets all the talk. We know he's a little bit of a gadget player. We'll see how the health of the other running backs look. But the key cog for the 49ers has been to pound the football with Elijah Mitchell. You look at some of his numbers. He was over 20 carries in 5 straight games up until that game against Green Bay where they had to play from behind. I think that they're in a score-neutral situation from start to finish. Elijah Mitchell over 17.5 carries for me.
Kenny White, Todd Fuhrman putting knowledge in your mind, money in your pocket. But I will also say this, which is an opinion that a lot of gamblers and a lot of sports fans will agree with. The NFL gets what it wants, and I think the NFL wants the Rams in the Super Bowl because it's at the Rams Stadium, and they like that kind of stuff. I'm just saying. I'm not the expert, but that's just my gut feeling. All right, here's a look back at Kenny's correlated parlay, same-game parlay. Look at this. This is spectacular. So basically, he needs the game to go under 44.5. This is a sneaky parlay here. Some books will allow this. So you got under 44.5. You also got the under 45.5. Garoppolo under 1.5 passing touchdowns, and Jimmy G under 228.5 passing yards, nearly plus 300 in that one. As for Todd's same game parlay, a little bit more juicy in terms of the payback. Garoppolo under 20.5 completions, 49ers on the money line. Cam Akers under his rushing yards of 63.5, and Eli Mitchell over 17.5 attempts, pays out at plus 675 on Championship Sunday.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.